Hello again. Welcome back to your 5-minute devotional stop with me, Amy Phillips. I'm on a journey moving from fear to faith, and I hope you'll join me for Just Believe.
Well, hello, beloved ones. I saw this quote this week from Tim Keller. He says, "The world is a dark place, and yet the coming of Jesus Christ shows us that no one and nothing is hopeless." I felt that so deeply as I've been talking with women this week, hearing stories of darkness, and yet also believing for hope that rises in the midst of the dark. That light that begins to shine into deep depravity and sin. The coming of Jesus into any situation. And what better time to be reminded of that than now when we remember the first coming, the advent of Jesus. So this week I read a passage not related to the usual Christmas passages we read, but a passage about Jesus' coming and a miracle he performed in Luke 7:16. So in the story, he's in a little town near Nazareth when he comes upon a funeral in action, and he sees that the only son of a widow has died, and he has so much compassion for her. He knew without a husband or a son, life was about to get really hard for her. And so in compassion, he tells the woman not to cry, and in verse 14 he says, "Young man, I say to you, get up." The dead man sat up and began to talk, and Jesus gave him back to his mother. They were all filled with awe and praised God. "A great prophet has appeared among us," they said. "God has come to help his people." This news about Jesus spread throughout Judea and the surrounding country. So that verse, God has come to help his people. I looked up that verse, so many different versions for that phrase. God has visited his people, or God has looked favorably on his people. The Message says God is back, looking to the needs of his people. So the word that's been defined as help or visited or looked favorably is also defined as to look observantly, to inspect, to look out, to visit for the purpose of comfort and relief, or when used of God, to visit with gracious intervention. So Jesus performed a miracle, and it made them exclaim, "God has come to help his people with gracious intervention." Matthew 1:23 tells us that the virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God with us. This is what God with us means. God has come to help his people, to visit with gracious intervention, not just once with the birth of Jesus, but over and over and over again. He visits us with a purpose of comfort and relief. He visits us, comes to us, because he is God with us. Now, I say this a lot. God did not promise us freedom from all pain and suffering or freedom from the dark places, but he did promise he would be with us in it. This is not just a promise, but actually his name, his personhood is God with us. We are not alone. Just as the people longed for that light dawning 2,000 years ago, the world is still longing to know deeply that God is with us, and we are not walking this by ourselves. Long before Jesus came, God was already speaking this truth to us. Joshua 1:9 says, "Be strong, be brave, be fearless. You are not alone." Isaiah 41:10 says, "Don't be afraid, for I am with you. Don't be discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, and I will help you." Then Jesus came, God with us, and spoke more promises. John 14:18, "I will not abandon you as orphans. I will come to you." And as he left us in bodily form, he spoke his final words, "And be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age." So many of us may feel alone or lonely. And if you're feeling the dark places in the world today, remember God's promises. Remember his coming. You are not alone. God is with you. The same God who was with Joshua is with you. The same Jesus who raised the widow's son is with you. The same Jesus who spoke to his disciples as he was raised, "I am always with you," is also with you. He has said, "I will not abandon you. I will come to you." He is speaking his nearness over you today. Maybe nearness in loss and grief, in waiting, in need of healing, in need of change in a relationship, in need of hope, He is near. He has not left you, dear one. You belong to God and you cannot be taken out of His hand. His promises are, I am Emmanuel. I will be with you. I am with you in every dark place. And therein lies the hope we cling to. God has come to graciously intervene on our behalves. So this month, when you hear the words of Advent, remember His coming then, and remember it today in your every moment. God is with you. You are never alone. Do not fear, just believe.
Thanks for joining me today. I hope you feel encouraged and strengthened. If you want to connect with me, you can find me at amybphillips.com. See you next time.